Hello, hello. We have a new chapter of One Piece. Whoa, jeez. This one is called Pacifist. The last one ended in a tragic, scary cliffhanger where the town where Kuma had been living as a priest and healing people was now once again under attack by their insane, evil king. We know Bonnie has been born, Kuma is raising her. She had this horrible disease. Things are kind of starting to add up in my mind. I think maybe I'm still kind of on the right path, that it involves Kuma making a deal with the world government where he sacrifices himself in order for Vegapunk to treat Bonnie's disease. Vegapunk then turns Kuma into the prototype pacifista and secedes his mind to the control of the world government, at least obstinately. Kuma is then programmed to be a tyrant king of this country, betraying all of the poor old folks that he was healing before. Very, very sad. And that kind of gets us up to present day, I believe. So, this was largely my theory about a month ago, but a few things have changed, but I still kind of think we're moving towards that final tragic conclusion. So we'll see. We got Udon, or Odin, sorry. Why did I think his name is Udon? Odin getting his hair tied up by raccoon dogs. Tanuki, very cute. So Kuma trying to save everyone from these fires set by the king. Far to the east, another kingdom used this strategy successfully. The celestial dragons praise their beautiful city for being cleansed of all flesh. That is Luffy's hometown, which would make sense chronologically. That had happened a little bit before this. I gotta sneeze. Oh my gosh, that was a violent one. Yeah, so I think that's referring to Windmill Island, where they burned down the poor area where Luffy and the bandits and everybody were having adventures. This king looks rancid, awful. I hope he gets beaten up. Because I think maybe now the next event is Kuma does just kind of annihilate this guy, maybe. The chapter title is Pacifist, but maybe it's about him hitting the limit of that pacifism and finally realizing how powerful the Pawpaw fruit is in combat. And then that creates this power vacuum that the world government takes advantage of Kuma to fill. A wise king must sometimes steel his heart and enact cruel reforms. People are mounting furious resistance. Ooh. Okay, Kuma, seething with rage, approaches the capital. Dad's always such a chicken. Yeah. This is Kuma unleashing the Ursus shock. I think this is the first time chronologically that we've seen him use his powers offensively like this. Not, maybe he was doing stuff like this during other revolutionary activities, but this feels like a big development that he just annihilates the Capitol building here. You country bumpkin preacher. No. Okay. So, time advancing very quickly. And then, notably, this is St. J. Garcia. This is St. Saturn, who is the one on Egghead right now in current day. So this kind of creates another situation, another day of reckoning, I think. Assuming that, he ends up being the one personally responsible for the tragic schemes that are yet to unfold. So Kuma peacefully takes to the throne. Living out of his old church. He's still the king. This is when he becomes the king of Sorbet Land, which we knew about. One actually in control of the palace's old bulldog. Just a figurehead to make people feel better. Okay, okay. Cardio, cardio. Bonnie sprinting around as an adult. She at some point has eaten the age fruit. Okay, well that's one theory of mine that I gotta throw out here. I thought, oh, maybe the only thing that can prevent her jewelry disease isn't actually like a cure for the disease, but just using the age fruit to counteract the effects, and that what Vegapunk offers them is access to the age fruit. But no, no. Bonnie just ate it at some point, I guess. I guess we'll find out. And seems to have inadvertently aged herself up to Ginny's age. Freaking out dear Kuma, who passes out immediately. Hmm. Where did she? Okay. This is very strange. This, of course, I guess. This is one of the guys that's in Bonnie's crew in like the present day, hanging out with her. So yeah, I guess she really is just like 10 in present day, right? Like she just consistently ages herself up to be like a young woman. Bizarre. But why did she eat the age fruit? What happened? Where did she find it? I think there's still more mysteries here. There's still something else going on. My mother is already here. Hmm. Connie, the one-time Queen Dowager. Okay. So Kuma called a wicked dictator. So maybe the tyrant Kuma. See, I kept thinking, oh, this will explain why he was called the tyrant Kuma. Is this idea that the world government programs him to betray those that he had just helped previously? It could also just be this propaganda thing. But yeah, clearly St. J. Garcia and the world government encouraging Kuma to be re-overthrown. I'm sure as soon as Jay Garcia heard that it was Kuma and figured out that's the kid with Buccaneer blood, and probably also, oh, that's the kid that ate the pawpaw fruit. It's pretty cool. It's like when you think of Kuma's reputation among the world government people, you see that there's figures that kind of have these ascensions, like Luffy, like Odin, like Roger, like Whitebeard throughout history, where they just keep doing these like nonsensical acts, these things that defy expectation, and start to worm their way into so many different conversations within the world government. I think that's just really cool. Like it really kind of captures to me this general spirit of the great age of piracy that so many in parallel voyages are setting out and making their name known and having these adventures and causing trouble. It also explains why, even though Luffy was doing so many like very notable things, they didn't take that big a notice to him until somewhat recently, because he was just one of dozens. He was part of a whole generation, the worst generation, that was causing this much trouble. I think just the richness of world building in One Piece like really makes it feel both more realistic and then just more fantastical that just so many amazing things are happening. Preparing battleships. Corey coming back. He won't set a single toe within the country again. Whatever he tries to bring back with him, I'll drive it all away. Once that happens, I'll be seen as a criminal and won't be able to stay here anymore. Bulldog has to be the king. And Bonnie becomes old. Oh, I finally understand what's going on here. See, Bonnie can't make herself get old, but then this is Connie that he just randomly picks up and thinks that it's Bonnie. Okay, I got all confused. All right, whatever. Take care of Bonnie. I'll miss you. Okay. True tyrant. Kuma the tyrant. Kuma sank all the battleships. Strong as hell. Fled to the sea. Bounty on his head. Sure, sure. Bonnie hanging out with Connie. Okay, so Kuma out on these adventures is contacting anyone he can think of to see who can have a cure for this disease. This is the people, I can't remember what this country is called, but they're ruled over by giant birds, and they all have these arcane medical secrets, and it's where Chopper gets Pawpaw fruited to. So this is a nice little bit of continuity. It's like very cute. It's not, necessary. It's nobody was like, well, how did Kuma know about that place? But it teaches you why Kuma sent Chopper there. He knew that this was a country full of doctors and medicine people. And it's just, I don't know, it's consistent. I just like, drawing together all these different threads. Like maybe he'll go try to contact Crocus next. I always see him checking out, this is the Gloomy Kingdom, I think it's called, where Mihawk lives. It's where he sent Zoro. He's figuring out all these places. There's Abdul and Jeet, I think their names are, the bounty hunters that show up in Dressrosa. This is the Futureland Baltigo, where Vegapunk grew up and modernized and revolutionized everything that he sends Frankie to. This is the enslaved country building a giant bridge between islands, one of the most mysterious, interesting things in One Piece that has really never been followed up on. But who knows? Maybe they haven't forgotten about it. They're still hinting at it. Where Robin was sent. I don't know this next one. I think he's just kind of helping out with revolutionary activities, showing that he's doing that stuff too. There's Weatheria, where he sent Nami. The Sky Island, where they can consider weather, study weather, contemplate weather. I think this place was called Greenbelt, where Heracles, something like that, lives, that Usopp was sent to. All this time, frantically trying to figure out a way to save Bonnie, trying to stay away from the world government. Runs into the revolutionaries again. These guys. Eva and Ninazuma are in prison. King, a tyrant, and a pirate. Position eternally belongs to Ginny until you give me permission. Nice, okay. Betty's rise to being commander, sure. All our revolutionary buddies are here. Sure. I wonder what you would have done. I want to return to the fold. Okay. So this is when we learn about Vegapunk. After the recent accident, he's going to transfer to a new lab. So this is probably when Egghead is established and he leaves Baltigo. Or not Baltigo. Maybe I called it Baltigo before, but it's not Baltigo. Baltigo is where the Revolutionary Army headquarters are. The name of that country that Frankie got sent to is something else. Anyways, yeah, he's switching labs. Much more approachable during the transition. Go speak with him. Okay. Meanwhile, Bonnie beating up people. He does this thing. Is this the Revolutionary Army salute? That's pretty cool. They head to the current site of Egghead Island. This is before he created the other Vegapunks, the Stella system. So his head is still disgustingly huge. These two very opposite body types interacting, but sure. Done with him so long. She'll survive. Some medical tech that I've been holding back from the public market. Oh, hanging out with Sentomaru. Good. Okay. generating new stem cells and transplanting them. It's about how much work it costs creating a cyborg. Cost as much. Vegapunk finds out he's a buccaneer. Doing some research on Kuma, just because Kuma looks cool. He wants to make clones of them. And this is the deal. So it's not the robotization of Kuma that was the deal. It was just his blood for clones. Okay. What will you do with them? These soldiers that look just like me, will they be in the Navy? Do you like electromagnetic energy? I see a human shooting laser beams. Those pirates will go mute with shock. They'll be laid low by the overwhelming power of science. They'll be heroes to the common man. Yeah, I don't know. I think Kuma's being a little naive here. Like, don't you remember? This is the enemy? But he gets a little caught up in the rhetoric of, like, well, the Navy saves people, too. The Navy saves common people from mean pirates, which is true. This is the more complicated logic of One Piece morality. It's not so black and white, and we can see why Kuma might be convinced, even though we can privately think, you are a dumbass. Make Vegapunk do the operation by force. Make a deal with you to save Bonnie's life, even if you were the devil himself. Yeah, and this is really his logic. True Saint. Oh, and this is why the soldiers are called pacifista. Because Kuma describes himself as a pacifist here. I see. Okay. So I was wrong about a lot of stuff, but the broad strokes, of course, are progressing the way that they would. To no one's surprise. We have to get to the current situation. Pretty intense stuff, though. This is where horrible things start to unfold. But we can see the ideological break where Vegapunk is like, these will save lives. The enemy pirates won't even fight them. The pacifistas are just so overwhelmingly strong that things will just peacefully resolve. And then the weak will be protected by them, and it's all Gucci. And Kuma's like, well, I don't know. I'm sure Dragon would be pissed off that I'm essentially giving an extremely powerful weapon to the enemy, but maybe we're not really enemies because you seem like a good guy. And you're right, they can save lives. And then immediately we hear from St. J. Garcia, who's wiretapping this whole thing. These are weapons, and weapons are for killing, and we will use the Kuma bots to kill millions of people. And that's where we're at. So Kuma, I don't think, has realized at all the extent with which he has betrayed himself. But it gets worse, and I'm not really sure how it's going to get to this point. But Kuma doesn't only just give up his own blood and DNA for these clones, he gives up his entire autonomy. He gets cyborgified and rewired. So I don't know how that's going to come to pass. That now has become the big mystery remaining in the rest of this flashback, which we will learn about next week or maybe the week after. Okay, good talking, good chapter. Bye-bye.